Good morning to everybody. How is everybody doing today? My name is Dr. Horacio Maldonado, and today I have a good friend, veteran, superstar, veteran advocate, and just a good person that I've known for a while. Daylen Adams. He's going to be our guest today in all things leadership. And hey, brother, welcome to the channel, man.
Yeah, awesome, bro. Thanks for having me, man. Thanks for reaching out. I was like, yeah, I'll definitely jump on, man. Anything to kind of speak on veterans and see what we can make happen or just talk about it, man. So I appreciate having me.
No, definitely, I appreciate it. Daylen, I know we've talked for a while, for years about it, and you're so heavily involved into the whole veteran advocate, in what they do. You're always trying to find ways to make them better. You're trying to find resources for them to make it kind of easier for them, but at the same time, yourself working on your own growth as you go. So I definitely want to talk a little bit about, the military leadership perspective once you leave the uniform. I know that we had discussions in the past for hours about this. And today I kind of just want to just sit down with you and just have a couple of discussions with you on what do you think. So, and I wrote some stuff down just so I kind of want to make sure that I want to stay on the topic that we're going to do, right? So, um, how do you think your military service or just any military service for any of the veterans has shaped the way that you advocate for veterans? And how do you engage them in the community? Basically, how do you empower them to be more engaged in the community as a veteran, from your perspective and from what you've been doing for the past couple of years?
Yeah, yeah, awesome. First off, I realized when I did get out, it's advocacy is huge, right? So when I first got out, I was like, yeah, I could help veterans. Like, I did it in service. I could help them now. And then I got out, and yeah, I literally got hit with just a ton of information, a ton of resources, and what I thought I could do on my own. I learned real quick. Like advocacy is not a one man or one person show. So, and I like to spin that around because I believe that's kind of how we met on LinkedIn. We're talking about leadership and exploring, kind of translating leadership from military service into the civilian workforce, which is interesting enough. But yeah, advocacy from service to now, I've learned to kind of pace yourself, right? I think that's the biggest way as far
Mm.
as advocating for veterans. I think pacing yourself and kind of controlling what you can, because coming from the military side of the house, it's just like go go go. Like there's no time for any BS or whatever. It's just like you need to get it done. Where I come out here into the good civilian workforce, and it's just like it's just a wave of information and just I mean, we're talking veterans from different generations. You got
Mm.
veterans peacetime, wartime, like, and that's a lot. So when I
Yeah.
thought I was like, I could be advocacy, that's a piece of cake, and I was wrong. So I definitely learned that. I'm glad you brought that up, man. That's a good point.
Yeah. No, the advocacy piece is such an important piece, man. I mean, I know I've done it with the state agency for a good little over 7 years. And advocacy has a very unique way of like, and you said it perfectly right now. Now veterans, different generations, different time frames, different perspectives, different ways of what they were in leadership, even how leadership and management even seen the private sector being the military. Because, when I left, yeah, I had a couple hundred people underneath my belt, what I'm saying? I had a SEO, I had a captain, so I'm like, it's cool, I got it, it's whatever. But in the private sector, it's not as, I guess, as linear as we wish we would, right? And I know that me and that I when I was talking about doing discussion with you, I went back to our discussion when I was doing my doctorate and I interviewed you for my interviews for my dissertation for my research, right? And it makes so much sense because it's, I guess, advocacy now in today's world, it's more of like not how much is who you know, but having the right resources for the right people. So my follow-up question to you would be is, where do you see the importance of veteran advocacy, especially in the RGV? Where do you see the direction of the veteran advocacy going? Do we need more of it? Do we need less of it? Do we need more funds? Because hey, we got to be able to address the elephant in the room, bro, right? Uh,
Yeah.
so what do you think, bro?
I think from my perspective, man, is I mean, funds make the world go around, right? So I don't want to get into that. That's never been my first thing. Like the other, like you spoke earlier, like I'm an infantry guy, man. We don't talk money, but I can just say just the information and having that open, open communication, and that's something I think open communication with veterans and leadership of advocacy, or really leadership in general. Here, I think there's a lot we can learn from our veterans and vice versa if we just kind of have that sit down. That's why I tell everybody to get coffee, because I'm like, man, you'd be surprised how much you can just sit down, have a cup of coffee, or whatever you want to drink, and just kind of get some stuff on the table. Because if you don't know what you don't know, man,
Yeah,
we're all here just trying to find what we need, or information, or the resources that we think
yeah.
that would benefit us, or our veterans in general. So yeah, man, I think we're on the right track for the RGV as a whole. It's just little small gaps here and there, but I
Yeah.
mean, from what I've seen in the last couple of years, I think we're going in the right direction for sure.
Yeah, no, I definitely I like the what you know we don't know. If you don't know it,
Yeah,
hey, it's always good. I had the supervisor be
yeah,
always like,
yeah,
you don't know until you know it. I'm like, no, you are correct, and I like that. And,
yeah.
and keeping around in the same area. I'm gonna get right up on gaps. What are some of the gaps or challenges that you believe still exist today um, in how I guess the community in accepting and supporting those veterans coming out of the military, especially in those leadership roles? What do you think some of those gaps that you have seen from your experience and from your discussions with a lot of people? And the reason I say that was because you have a very high influence in the veteran community that I do. I do partially stalk you on LinkedIn. So for me, it's
You stuck is
understanding that
right there now.
people I talk to different people, so it's important. So what do you think some of those gaps are?
Honestly, I think the biggest gap, and I think it's a two-way street. I don't know if I can say it, say it right, but I think it's a two-way street because it's so broad that our perceptions of a veteran is always it's really just either what someone else who hasn't served seen, or what they've heard. Like, it's really hearsay or say, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
if they just know, like, hey, and just use it as an example, like my uncle served and he came back from XYZ, and he wasn't all there, or whatever the case may be. And then
Mhm.
that's the only perception they have, or my so and so was in the military, and man, they're doing great. They got all this money, XYZ. So you kind of get stuck in that, and as a veteran, I'm like, well, I'm either one of those. So you
Mhm.
kind of, I think the biggest thing is just having a broad perspective, really. And I think the bad part is veterans have that broad perspective already,
Yeah.
but when they meet, when they have their interaction, or engagement with, you know, uh, the civilian population, it kind of gets,
Mhm.
I guess, lost in translation, or no translation, right? I think that's the
Yeah.
best, yeah, the best way of saying it. But I think just it's so broad when people leave the military, and then just that perception, like, of what they think, or they have experience, I think is all they got to work with. So it's kind of like you gotta,
Yeah.
either explain, or try to work around, just have opening that conversation up, I think.
And so you have, it's funny you said this. It's true. A lot of people that I've talked to since I retired, I've been out of the military for like about a little bit over 12 years. And what you did in the military, we try so hard because it just comes natural to us to do it, right? You drop that
Yeah,
uniform on, you put on that suit on, you're like, oh, that's cool, man. I can what? You mean to delete the file? Oh yeah, it's easy day. For us, it's like, yeah, easy day, bro. Just another day, right? But there's so many hidden factors into that, right? It's all about our perception, and then you mentioned it earlier. I've mentioned it in my research on transitioning veterans in leadership positions into the private sector. It's such a I don't think, based on my research, man, and the reason I say that, based on my qualitative research, the expectation is, well, if I was a E6, E7, E8, whatever the case may be, I can just jump into a director, VP, CEO, position, right? And then when that doesn't happen, I think everything else gets shifted off, man. And I think that domino effect starts going like, really, dude, I did 30 plus years in whatever, and I can't lead two people. I can't even lead the coffee maker, bro. So no, I get it, and it's such an important piece that I don't think and I say it me personally, that we're not talking about it enough. I just think it's preparing them at least like about a couple of years before they get out of the uniform, be like, hey, just let you know, just like we tell our kids, life is not fair. The civilian sector is not fair, bro. Okay. I thought I was gonna move into a manager at a minimum. Daylen, at a minimum, brother. No, bro. Okay, I was like negative E1, bro, in the books, dude. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
What's up? What's a chief in the Navy, baby? You know what I'm saying? No, that
yeah,
didn't matter, bro. They don't give a damn. So
yeah.
it's
No,
such a
I'm glad you brought that up because it's kind of a spinoff with that too. Is I try to tell folks, well, folks I talk to on LinkedIn, especially veterans, and I try to tell them more of a direct message way because I don't want to put it out on making it look like making them look bad, but I'm really just trying to state the fact of what I've seen. And I was like, honestly, man, the best way I can tell you is it's not that they don't care, but the amount of work it takes for someone to translate your resume, if it doesn't translate well,
yeah.
it's time that they really, I mean, as a civilian now, it's
Yep.
all, I mean, government shutdown, all that. I mean, a lot of people are already looking for work as it is.
Yep.
So, I
Yeah,
mean,
that is.
for you to risk that extra, 30 seconds of like, what does it mean?
Yeah.
Squad leader,
You know.
tactical movement. I don't even know, man, next. And that's
It's like,
just to tell folks like, hey, if you're not translating it well,
yeah.
don't be
I
prepared
think,
to
and I like it. I mean, I think we all. I mean, I still hold on to certain things in the military. I'm like, when my child says something else, I'm going this go sweepers. Let's get there. Much like what? What does
yeah,
that mean? I said, oh, you're gonna find a real quick what it means, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
no, I got you, man. So based on what you know, based on your experience, what has been the most impactful way to bridge the military and the civilian communities so they can both understand and we can both grow? I'm always thought about growth and within the community, and I think sometimes I talking to some community leaders, especially in the state of Texas and outside, is how can I bridge that with the community, with the private sector, maybe so much as how can we both grow together, you know? And where do you think some of the links are in that? How can the community and the veteran, transition veteran, regardless of rank and regardless of service, how can we grow the community? And I say that because that's what you do a lot of, and so not to put you in the spot, but I think I just did.
Yeah, no, man, and it's a evolving thing because what I think or what I thought last year or the year before, it's changed, right? Or like the workforce is kind of always changing, so kind of just keeping that in the forefront. But I think honestly, from what I've seen, especially on LinkedIn, and what I was trying to do when I got out, I think the Skills Bridge program per se, I'm not promoting them, but I mean just the aspect of kind of having that internship or having the like that base or that foundation to have a bridge into getting because like we know you get out, you just think you're gonna apply and you're gonna get it. That's really not how it works, like that's what we think when we're in the military. But I think just having that skills bridge or that internship is the biggest. I think it would bridge the biggest gap because then we can see, kind of how that job would work for us, vice versa, how we could, better, for that organization or that company. I think the skills bridge aspect or internship would be,
Mhm.
the best approach. And then obviously prior to getting out, but that's a whole, it's a lot to ask for
Yeah.
with a lot of moving pieces. And we like to say it's above my pay. So I don't know, I can't, but I think that's the best,
Yes, I
that's the
bet.
best approach
Yeah.
because I did a program with Texas Workforce and I learned a lot about UTRGV. I did an internship with them, and it was really good because I kind of got to see how that organization was ran. A lot of good people, but I also didn't have like that pressure of like, man, if I don't succeed at this, like it's all over. But I
Yeah.
think with that too is just kind of the mistakes and stuff we make, and I like to share a lot on LinkedIn is
Mhm.
kind of hoping I could share my mistakes or my failures, and
Yeah.
like we do in the military, like hey, don't do that because it's not going to work. If you're trying to do this, you do anything but that. That one's definitely not going to work.
No, I like how you said too, because and it is. There's a lot of programs out there that I don't think that a lot of the veterans know. So let me ask you this as a parting question to you. If you have the ability to be in front of a lot of transition veterans, what's one advice that you would give them about? Because I have a lot of veterans that see my channel. Um, if you had the opportunity to tell them a couple of things and preparing them for the private sector, what would it be, man?
Oh man, first off, get a LinkedIn, right? I was late on that, and then second of all, man, like don't be afraid to ask questions. I know I was because from my background, if you're asking, it's because you don't know, and if you don't know, it's because I guess it's on you, kind of,
Yeah.
But to flip that, before we would go to any military school or military training, you obviously would find the right people and be like, hey, man, I'm going to this course. What do I need to know? Like, got any advice for me? What sucks? What doesn't? Like, what should I not do? And I guess kind of using that approach and kind of reaching out to folks and kind of find your mentors, man. I mean, mentors don't have to be in their name. That's one other thing. Like, just because, I mean, no offense, just
Yeah.
like you, brother. Like, I consider you a mentor since I got here, but I'm not gonna be like, hey, mentor. Like, I think we kind of messed that, but I think the best thing is just, ask questions, man, and that'll be my best thing, and don't be scared to kind of get out there, and step out of your comfort zone, man. Because I've done a lot of stuff that I probably would never have done if I was in the military, But now that I'm not, you kind of gotta step out and push on some boundaries a little bit.
Yeah. No, I got you. I appreciate saying that because it's important, and I even more appreciate about asking because I know that hey, I always like that when I'm not gonna ask any help. You're crazy, man. But I like that mentality because I think if we adopt that, like you said, not afraid to ask a question, um, because things have changed, right? I mean, it changed when I got out in 2013, man, to where it's now. So I've seen it. I'm sure you've seen it in some of the articles you've seen. So, but I appreciate it. Daylen, brother, man, hey, I appreciate your time today, brother, man. Thanks for being here today. I enjoyed talking to you. I do see myself calling you again to schedule a round two of this discussion because I definitely want to talk a little bit more about what you do. I appreciate everything you do for the veteran community, man. And you definitely set a good standard for a lot of people that advocate for the veterans. I'm appreciative of that, brother, man. I know,
Man,
so we've talked before, and we try to do a lot of things together, and we're going to continue to do it, man. But I appreciate taking the time today and joining our channel, man. I appreciate it.
awesome, man. Thank you for having me, brother. And quick shout out to Anthony Cosby and the Steezy team. Got me hooked up with some gear, but step out of your comfort zone, right? All right, brother. Appreciate it.
All right, man. All right, I appreciate it. Thanks everybody for watching the channel today. We're going to post Dylan's video today on LinkedIn. So everybody have a good one. Take care.